Welcome to our Year 11 English podcast where we're going to be talking about the topic of should Apple be allowed to build a store in Federation Square? And starting with Hayden.
We've got they shouldn't build a Federation Square because, it'll ruin the architecture of the Federation Square because it's like a historical building. It's been there for a while and it's like a key place for a lot of tourist attractions.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, what makes Australia? Mostly Melbourne.
Yeah.
So it's mostly Melbourne because it's Federation Square and Flinders Station because of all the histories behind there. And some people, there was a online petition for how many people want and don't want it.
Yeah.
And it was 53 more signatures than what the government wants, what Apple wants to build for. And some people say it reminds them of like a Pizza Hut Pagana, what the original building looks like, which is not very good for a main attraction. And Melbourne needs all the tourist attractions because their income is pretty low to major countries like Europe, America, and something like those.
Yeah. Do you want me to go now?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the building that they want to build it for hasn't really ever had like a specific hasn't had any specific it hasn't had like a significant purpose. It's just like there. And obviously with Apple coming in, that obviously create a lot more, it would obviously help with a lot of jobs as well. And that's what would be I think one of the best things is that a lot of people, Apple's one of the biggest companies in the world. So with Apple coming right in the middle of a famous landmark in Melbourne, that would create a lot more tourism, and especially for people overseas, it would help with people that want to do shopping within the city. Because there really isn't, I don't think there's many Apple stores in the city either. So I think that
there isn't one in the city.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be good in Fed Square. It would also create a lot more jobs as well. And it would probably help boost the economy. And also that it would, I think it would also be a bit more appealing as well to make the city look better. And tourists, I think, would like the look of having an Apple store in the heart of Melbourne.
Yeah, but if that's just tourists, what would the local Melbourne people? Would they like it?
Well, I don't know if they would like it or not, but I think overall So
you're saying the advantages outweigh what will happen to the local Melbournes?
Well, if you think about it, more tourists would come in and it would create more jobs, which would be better overall for the city of Melbourne.
If it becomes more jobs, therefore we'll become more overpopulated than we already are.
Well, Melbourne already is rapidly growing, and apparently everyone's saying that it's set to be getting bigger than Sydney anyway. So I think growth in Melbourne's always going to be there.
Yeah, it's always going to be there, but can we keep up with it? So we provide more jobs, we have to provide more houses, meaning losing more land.
I think we can. I think we can because I think Melbourne's, developing well.
I don't think so. Think about the traffic.
Yeah, well,
it's going to get worse than that.
More people these days are driving their cars rather than using public transport as well.
Well, I still think that having Apple there would be good overall for the city. I think there's more positives than negatives. Yeah.
Well, Federation Square was originally, I'm pretty sure it's been logged as one of the worst looking buildings in the world. And a lot of people think that having an Apple store in Federation Square will ruin the look, but it would make it more diverse, I believe.
Yeah.
But because a lot of people are unhappy about it and there's a lot of debate, it's hard to come up with a final decision about what to do about it. But there will always be positives and negatives, and it's just about working out what weighs more down. So there's like creating jobs, the fact that there's an Apple store in the city, which there isn't at the moment, and then there's other things like overpopulation, overcrowdedness, and a lot more to consider. And to put the Apple store in Federation Square, they have to knock down a building as well, don't they?
Yeah, historical building.
Are they going to knock it down, or would they renovate it?
They have to knock it down to place another building there.
Yeah. Obviously, people wouldn't like that.
No.
Well, there'd be people that'd be against that, but there'd be other people that wouldn't mind it. So,
well, some people won't, but like the locals will mind it rather than tourists.
Yeah, that's true. So there's like I think there's like two sides for it, but at the same time, apparently, Apple said that the store in Fed Square would also help with they'd give free education sessions on like photography and music and app development. So that would also cater to not just like technology, but like also other different areas of life as well, which could be good for the community and get them involved, which could be good.
It's also in Federation Square. They also have I think it's the ACMI Academy thing where they present exhibitions every now and then. Each one based around some form of technology, and having an Apple store right next to it could benefit it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Is that all that we have?
I'm pretty sure we do. So, what's our final opinions?
I think it'd be good for growth of Melbourne, and obviously it would help with more jobs and all that kind of stuff. I think tourists and all the locals, I think it's just something that they need to get used to because they're so used to having Fed Square as being
a historical landmark.
Yeah, when that building doesn't really have a purpose anyway, and it's kind of
true. It's kind of there for obscure purposes.
So you may as well just having it there for looks and all that. It doesn't really. Me being a local in Melbourne, I don't really care about a building like that. I'd rather have it be used and be more notable in Melbourne. So yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right.